Hello, welcome to Community Matters. My name is Becky Steinbrunner, and I am honored to be your guest here this afternoon for the next 2 hours. We have a really great program today, and we're going to begin it right now with the first hour being dedicated to interviewing the new president of Cabrillo College, Dr. Jenn Capps. And joining her in the studio here with us this afternoon is Ms. Kristin Fabos, the Director of Business, Marketing and Communications for Cabrillo College. So thank you both for being here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you in the room, but not through the headphones.
Okay.
So that's awesome to be here, Becky. Thanks for the invitation.
Excellent. Thank you. I think we're going out on the air, so we'll fiddle with the headphones in a bit. But as long as you can hear me, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Fine.
So welcome, and I want to thank you both for taking the time to come to the studio here at Santa Cruz Voice and being our guest this afternoon. I did prepare some questions, but if there's anything else that you want to chime in with in addition to that, I would welcome your input. And later, if you like, we can take call-ins.
Sounds great. I'm excited to be here.
All right. Well, Dr. Capps, please introduce yourself and welcome.
Thank you. And please feel free to call me Jen.
All right.
So excited to be here. So my name's Jenn Capps, and I have been in the role of president, superintendent at Cabrillo College for about a month. It feels like a whirlwind of like 6 months because maybe a year, because I feel like I've been everywhere. And that's really my goal, is to be able to get out into the community, connect with people, hear about, all the wonderful things that are happening, as well as the opportunities that abound. And so, that's really what drove me to want to take on this role as president and superintendent at Cabrillo College, was the people and the wonderful people. I tell everybody, when I saw the job announcement, I literally jumped up and down in my living room because I was so excited. I was like, I've been waiting for this opportunity. I come from, most recently, I was the provost, which is a really fancy way in higher ed of saying I was the vice president of academic affairs. So I oversaw the instruction, advising, grants and sponsored programs, information technology, a whole bunch of stuff. But about 65% of the university up there. And so I was in that role for 5.5 years. That's what brought me to California.
And where was that?
In Humboldt. Up in Humboldt County.
Yeah.
So about 6 hours north. Resembles Oregon a little bit more than most parts of California.
Yeah.
But there are definitely some similarities, I think, in terms of landscape here in Santa Cruz County, in terms of the big trees and the beautiful beaches and the cool people, but much more rural up there, for sure. So in that role, the thing that was probably the most defining thing that I did up there was transition the university, led the transition to shifting the university to a polytechnic designated campus.
That's a big thing, and you led that.
I did. And so it took a couple of years, and it's still ongoing, some of the work, and some people go, what does that mean? Why is that important? Who cares, right? For two reasons. One, really what it was about was taking the strengths of the university and aligning it with what the community wanted, what the students were wanting, and what the workforce demanded in terms of opportunities, and aligning all those things together, and so talking to lots of people and getting everybody aligned and on board. Because that, if you do that right, then enrollment flourishes, good-natured relationships happen, and oh, by the way, a huge investment from the state of California came in the way of about $500 million with a B dollars to support that initiative.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's where I came from most recently. Originally, I'm from right outside of Washington, D.C. That's where I was born and raised. I spent the middle part of my life in Colorado. So a number of different spots in Colorado, working and earning kind of advanced degrees, getting started in higher education, and then found my way out to California. And I feel like I'm in the spot I'm going to stay. Because
we hope so.
You couldn't kick me out of Santa Cruz County if you tried. And I absolutely love Cabrillo. The people are incredible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we are lucky to have you here. My
Thank you.
goodness, that's wonderful, and I'm glad you jumped up and down in your living room and made it
Literally.
here.
Yep. Literally.
Let's take a moment here. Ms. Fabos, would you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Becky. I'm Kristin Fabos. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications at Cabrillo College and the Public Information Officer, or PIO, as people often describe it.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being here. You've
pleasure.
held that position for a while, yes?
16 years.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
a while.
Yeah, well, we're lucky to have you here as well and
Thank you.
doing that good work for us all at Cabrillo College.
Thank you. Fortunate to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. For those of you who have just joined us, we're honored here today to have Dr. Jenn Capps, the new president of Cabrillo College, and Ms. Kristin Fabos from the Public Information and Marketing at Cabrillo College, talking with us here about the new leadership at Cabrillo College, what's going on at Cabrillo College, and a lot is going on. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the current enrollment at Cabrillo College. I know many higher education places had a bit of a rocky time during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So how's it doing at Cabrillo?
Yeah, so we are at about 15,000 head count.
Wow.
When you break that down, we are about 33% of our students are full-time students, but about 67% are part-time students. And so it demonstrates probably about a 1%, a real modest enrollment growth over the last year, where we're seeing a lot of inspired growth is actually in our dual enrollment program, so opportunities for high school students to earn college credits, and so that there is a boom happening there, and so that's something that we're paying attention to and going to work more on. But you're absolutely right, enrollment is a challenge in terms of inspire, and there's a number of reasons post-COVID and otherwise why some students are, students and families questioning the value of higher education, trying to figure out how to afford it, what makes sense, how do I navigate it, all of those things, as well as a declining population of college-going, kind of traditional college-going age students. So we are definitely grappling with that and needing to rebound. I feel those numbers are pretty strong, but they're down a bit from where we've been in past years. So we are going to leverage a number of strategies to get us more up on the rise in that respect. So, yeah.
Did you want to add anything to that, Ms. Fabos?
No, I think that was a great summary. We've been slowly building back post-COVID, and we're not quite to pre-pandemic levels, but we hope to get there soon. And I think just to comment on Jen's point about the high number of students that are part-time, many of our students, I would say most of our students, work in addition to going to school. Some of them having 2, even 3 jobs in addition to being students. So being a full-time student for some is not feasible. But I'm really glad that we're an affordable solution for them to be able to get their education.
Indeed. And I think the fact that there are some tuition support, there's tuition support for students. Do you want to talk with us a little bit about that in case people are wondering how they would afford going to Cabrillo College? Tell us a little bit about that structure and what's available for help.
Sure. I may have you answer that one too.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
We have something, and I think about almost half of our students are on what we call the BOG fee waiver, and BOG stands for Board of Governors, and it's for students who need financial assistance, and their tuition is covered. So the course fees that they pay per unit is covered, which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Again, about half of our students use it. In addition to that, we do emergency textbook grants for students that come from the state. There were some previous COVID relief grants that we were able to offer. And the Cabrillo College Foundation does a fabulous job of providing emergency grants for our students. The Women's Educational Success Program, every year when they got their ceremony, you hear these just tear-jerking stories about students who, a car repair or a medical bill any one of those things can interrupt their pathway at Cabrillo, and the foundation is there to help them out so they can continue on their education.
Wow, that's nice.
It is
That's very nice.
We also offer basic needs support for our students. So in partnership with Second Harvest Food Bank, we have a fresh market that comes to both our Aptos campus and our Watsonville Center twice a month, with food deliveries of produce and dry USDA goods for our student population. And then at both campus locations, we also have what we call the Nest, which is nourishment and essential needs. I'm forgetting the exact acronym, but it basically provides, if they want to need food or other things, they can go in, drop in. They've got a food pantry.
Nice.
Support with housing resources. So we really provide the basic needs wraparound services for our students also.
Boy, that's wonderful support. It's hard being a student, especially if you're new to higher education and maybe have some language issues. It's wonderful to have that extra support. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think the other big thing that has impacted enrollment and we're excited about is just the cost of housing and how to be, if we have so many great support services in terms of, and resources in terms of tuition and food and that sort of thing. But one sort of needle we were trying to thread was around housing and affordability. And so as some people may know, we have a wonderful dormitory construction project.
yeah, I see the
online.
construction crane up there.
And it's coming along really well. It's a wonderful partnership between ourselves and UC Santa Cruz, and it's the Cabrillo College UC Santa Cruz Costa Vista Student Housing Development is what it's called, and it's 624 beds, and it's slated to open in July of 2027. And there's a child care center, family units, food service, community gathering areas embedded, and rents are tiered intentionally to really help to be accessible in terms of the for affordability. Say it like that. So we're really, really excited about that. And we have actually a camera that's on the dormitory that's and it's been, I think so far, just for sort of like the construction folks and stuff. And actually just in a meeting last week, I'm like, can we put that on our website? People are going to be interested, right? As like the live cam to watch the construction go up. So we're actively working on that, and we're hoping that's going to be up relatively soon. So people can jump onto our website and see day by day. Yeah.
That's marvelous. What a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had a few drones
I'm
zooming
sure.
over
Right.
the top. People want to know.
Exactly.
So make it easy for people to see, because this is a huge project.
It is a huge project. It's going to be a game changer for Cabrillo College. I have no doubt in my mind. It also sends us into being a residential campus, and that's new and different for us. And so really, really excited about that. I had the great fortune to be a part of, when I was talking about Humboldt and the investment in the Polytechnic, one of the pieces that part of that investment was to build a dormitory up there, because similar but different kind of issue. And what I'll tell you, that opened this past fall. And I'll tell you, and I suspect we'll have a similar experience here. The housing that students were able to access was nicer than any place they'd ever lived in their entire life. And it they felt so proud to be a college student and to be able to have amenities. It wasn't fancy, but it was stuff I think that it really brought home to me the challenges that our students face in the state of California, and especially our lower income students, and the challenges they go through every day just to make a meal or have a safe place to live. And so I'm really grateful that we're going to be able to offer that in an affordable way to our students. And what's even better is one of our goals at Cabrillo. We have many goals at Cabrillo, but one is to support them if they want to move on to a 4-year institution. And we're great partners with UC Santa Cruz, and since there'll be UC Santa Cruz students there, and if they just want to stay at the the dorm and transfer to UC Santa Cruz, they can. And
That's
I bet more will.
marvelous.
I bet more will.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's marvelous because the housing situation at UC Santa Cruz is challenging.
Yes, it is.
And expensive from what I hear. So this will be a win for everybody around.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's marvelous. And having the child care component there,
Yep.
do either of you want to talk about that?
I can mention it. I
Yeah,
feel
go for
like
it.
that is unique.
Yeah.
I haven't done a formal survey, but I feel like having a child care center built into student housing at a community college housing center that's in partnership with UC, but housed actually at a community college, I feel like that's a unique story. And we got 1.67 million in funding from Congressman Panetta to work on that child care center. We're still looking for more funding, but we're partnering with Community Bridges to help run that child care center, and it will be for the residents of that housing, the Costa Vista housing project. And I think it's going to be just a fabulous win for our students, especially our returning adult students who
Yeah.
maybe childcare has been a barrier for them to coming back to school because it's hard to find in this county also.
Indeed. Well, this sounds like a really good project. And is it progressing as scheduled? I'm seeing a lot of activity there. Knocking on
Yes.
wood.
Knocking
yes.
on wood so
Yeah.
far.
It's really nice when you can say it's on time and on budget.
There you go.
Right?
What a rarity.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Cabrillo was able to get a good amount of funding. It's being essentially funded by grants from the state and federal.
Primarily
Yeah.
the state, actually. Yes, state grants, which Senator Laird was really helpful in helping us not only apply for that process through the chancellor's office in the state, but then take it to the finish line in terms of getting the funding solidified.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent. If you're just joining us, welcome to Community Matters. I'm joined here in the studio by Dr. Jenn Capps, the new president of Cabrillo College, and Ms. Kristin Fabos, the marketing and public information manager for the college. And thank you both again for being here. This is really nice to have you here. And I appreciate your taking the time.
Our
You must
pleasure.
be very busy.
Thank
I know
you.
you're all over the place. So
This is an important place to be.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
I know the listeners very much appreciate getting to hear you and understand you. And I'm sure that we will all see you both out in the community a lot.
We hope so.
Yeah. One question I and many have had about this new housing facility, will there be metro connection directly to it? Has that been worked out?
Got it. So the RTC is a Cabrillo College station, like as a key drop on its 22-mile zero-emission passenger rail and trail project. So it's located near the campus, and the station's designed to connect to the coastal rail trail, and would involve a 250-foot tunnel under Highway 1 with the station situated roughly 2 miles from the campus core. So the station's part of a 9-station, 22-mile route connecting Pajaro, Watsonville to Santa Cruz.
Yeah, that's going to be wonderful
Yeah.
when that's built. That's
Yeah.
going to be a while, but
Yeah, currently there are 2 metro stops near the intersection of Cabrillo College Drive, where the housing project will be, and then SoCal.
So Metro does go on Cabrillo College Drive?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
There's
Then-
a stop in each direction.
Oh, good.
And then it's really basically just, I would say, I don't know, a couple 100 yards of walking to get to either one.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay, well, that's good. I had understood that it was only on SoCal Drive that the bus ran currently, so I'm happy to know that it does come closer.
Yeah.
There was Metro has made some big changes in their routes and things, so I'm happy to hear that they're going to be servicing this very important facility with a lot of people, many of whom would be going to Santa Cruz and UCSC. So that is excellent. Good. One of the changes that did happen on SoCal Drive was there used to be on-street parking, and that all went away. And that was to provide bike paths. And how has that affected the students and the staff? Do you hear anything of feedback about that?
I don't know if you've heard feedback. I haven't heard feedback from anyone, but I've been here a month. So if there's longer term feedback, I mean, it does reduce the amount of free parking on campus. But many students opt to purchase like parking passes to park in the lots. Even when the free parking was there, it wasn't really reliable, kind of a reliable source of parking.
You had to come early.
Yeah,
What's
absolutely.
You had to come to class early.
Fingers crossed you get one of those very few spots,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So,
Yeah.
So we try to extend, like some of the things we've done is extended the time on some of the free visitor spots in parking lot A and B, especially like when folks are pursuing like a counseling session or they plan to sign up for classes, those types of things. And then we have a 2-week free parking time zone like at the beginning of each semester, because that's when students are trying to get organized or trying to register for
Figure
classes.
things out.
Yeah, exactly. And to potentially consequence them for not having a parking permit yet or something like that just is a horrible experience when you're just trying to get settled for college. So those are some of the things that we're looking at doing. But I've never been to a campus that had so much sort of parking that seemed open, and I don't know if that's always been the case or not. But
Do you want to add anything to that, Ms. Mabos?
Sure. I think, definitely pre-COVID and years ago, maybe in the height of our enrollment, I would say parking was a challenge. And maybe some of the desired spots still, but we've not had a big parking crunch lately. There's plenty of the lots that we have on campus. There seems to be ample room for people, which I think could be why the free parking impact on SoCal, other than, paid versus free, is not maybe affecting our students quite as much. A wonderful thing too that I love about our students, another thing I love about our students, I should say, is that with the student activity fee, our student senate voted to have that include a free Metro pass
Hey, nice.
for every student. So I think that's fabulous. And, many of them may drive, but they still voted to do that so that the students who need bus passes can have them.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And is that paid for by Cabrillo or the student fees, or how?
It's paid for by the student fees. And the Senate has voted to make it that way.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Good democratic action.
Exactly.
To benefit the masses.
Right.
Exactly, and that's a nice opportunity just to give a nod to our student government. We have incredible student leaders. I'm completely impressed by just their organization, their engagement. I hear them, I've attended a few of their meetings and hear them reporting out from the meetings that they've gone to, and they are top notch and could probably teach us a little bit about engagement and moving forward initiatives in a way that is collegial and collaborative and in the best interest of our students. So I just, any opportunity to give a shout out to them.
That's great. And
Yeah.
I'm always happy to see the youth getting involved
Yep.
in decision making and things. It sets a good pathway for their life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially when it's so positive.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, are you planning any changes to the course offerings or anything? Is there going to be more of a shift since you shepherded the Cal Poly change it at Humboldt? Are you planning any such considerations for Cabrillo? Any vocational versus academic changes?
Great question. I would be a fool if I were to march in here in 1 month and declare that I'm going to make a lot of changes without understanding my environment. So not yet. And second, we have a wonderful Vice President of Instruction, Travaris Harris, who I would work in partnership with. Saying all that, what I will say is that it is really important to me that we make sure that the courses that we offer and the programs that we offer are aligned with student demand.
Yeah.
And with workforce opportunities for our students, as well as that we're aligned with transfer pathways into the four-year schools, because many of our students have those goals. I talk to them every day about what their goals are to go to San Jose State or UC Santa Cruz or Stanford or Berkeley, all kinds of places. And so
Humboldt Polytechnic.
Yes, in fact. Yes, that too.
That's a good school,
right?
too.
Yes, it is. And so so making sure it's relevant and that we remain connected to what students are wanting. And it seems obvious, like, of course you would be. But things change, right? Students' interests and what they want in the workforce and what the community needs sometimes change, right? And so wanting to make sure that we're aligned in that way. I think the other piece that's really important is making sure that we have student-centered scheduling to make sure that we are offering courses and programs at times that meet the needs of our students. And again, that also sounds obvious, but we have a lot of working students. We have students that, I always say, I want to deliver academic programs that fit the needs of students' zigzaggy lives, right? So maybe they need evenings, maybe they need shorter bursts of courses, maybe they need weekends. And so we need to be able to center that. I'd say the other thing is that obviously we have a Aptos campus and a Watsonville center, and I am very focused on thinking about how we can expand our academic offerings at the Watsonville center, because there is a large number of students that haven't necessarily been college going in that area. And at this time we have opportunities to start, college courses there. There's some programmatic things you can do there, but you can't begin and end a program there. And so I'd like to see what we can do to expand those efforts. Yeah.
Excellent. And you've mentioned the Watsonville Center. Is that a busy place? Lots of kids, lots of students?
It's
all ages, I hope.
Yeah, it's an active place, but I think it can be even more active. And I think that we can expand. And I think we have a good relationship with the community out there, but I think there's even more that we can do in terms of reaching out. What I'm understanding in my conversations with folks is that there are a lot of kiddos in the schools out there that just don't see themselves as college-going young people. And so through avenues like dual enrollment, through us reaching out into the schools. I mean, as an example, Watsonville High School is walking distance from Watsonville Center. So there's really no reason why we can't figure out ways to offer courses and have folks literally walk down the street and take a college class or deliver that college class to them. And so it's really about, it's longer term work and in terms of creating that culture and demonstrating that value and that they can do it, right? And that they should do it. And we're going to support them in that.
Their confidence that they can do it and succeed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure that you will work hard at that. I see that you are passionate about that and really care about the students. So I know it will happen.
Absolutely. I'll add one more thing. I think it's really important that I am in Watsonville, that that our leadership team is there, that our board is there at times, and that because I do truly believe where you show up demonstrates what you care about, right?
Yeah.
And so people see me out there and they'll see more of me and us out there in the future because we really want to partner with the community.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I really like Watsonville. I like the community there. It's great people there, and these are very tense times for that community. So helping those students feel safe and supported is critical, and I see that you are doing that. So thank you. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you a little bit about some of the vocational programs at Cabrillo. Some kids may not want to go on to a four-year university, but they might be interested in a welding program or car repair, something like that. What does Cabrillo have to offer?
Yeah. My favorite thing to talk about is the health programs. So my absolute favorite thing. So we have those programs that you just mentioned, but what I love is to share is our allied health programs, our radiology tech, our medical assisting. We're launching a certified nursing assistant program.
Excellent.
We're getting one. We obviously have nursing as well, but these these programs like radiology tech, and these programs are incredible programs. They don't take a really very long time, to your point, to complete, and you immediately can make a very, very competitive wage and be able to live and work and be successful. It's transformational for families and for the community. And so my goal is to expand our offerings in that area. There's
Those
opportunities.
Are good jobs.
Oh, they were really good jobs. And so I think about EKG, I think about respiratory therapy. Oh, our dental hygienist. How can I forget dental hygiene? We have that program as well. So absolutely. So those areas are incredible. Our culinary arts program is absolutely incredible. EMT program that we have as well. So, and I may be forgetting some. I'm sure I am, but
medical assisting.
Medical assisting. Yeah. I said that one too. Okay. I think, but yeah, there's nothing. The health programs, I think, is definitely a priority that I'd like to see us continue to move forward, because it's so impactful for the students, for the families, and then for our community. Yeah.
My dental hygienist was trained at Cabrillo
Of
College.
course. That's what I like to hear. Yeah. That is what I like to hear.
And I had an X-ray done in town last month, and she was completing her practical time through the Cabrillo College training program. So it is a great resource, and these kinds of jobs are much needed.
Yep.
And these young people can go anywhere they want, really, with this kind of training. So we hope they'll stay here in our community, but
I agree.
Yes.
And sometimes I think sometimes people get a little like, oh my goodness, this person's in training. Do I want, that person working on me or whatever? And so you absolutely do. You couldn't get a better experience when you have somebody who's training, who's being supervised. Those are absolutely sort of the academic medicine type of experiences is absolutely top notch. So that's terrific. I'm glad to hear that.
And Cabrillo offers, I think, at the Watsonville Center, a lot of building trades. Do you want to talk about that? Is that growing? And because there's a lot of construction coming along in this county.
There definitely is. There definitely is. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of all the different programs out that way.
The construction energy management
program.
That's it.
It's a wonderful facility.
Right. Great facility. It's actually LEED certified facility. So the building itself is a training building. And the students in there are working on tiny home projects. They learn everything about solar and all of the energy efficient new requirements for new construction as they're learning the building trades and getting certificates or continuing education. That's a fantastic program.
Another one that we don't have quite yet, I don't think, so please correct me as I'm still getting on board, but I know that HVAC is one that we're interested in exploring and getting resourced to get that underway, since there's such a big demand for it. So that's something we're actively exploring also. Yep.
Excellent. And that wonderful horticulture center up on the top of the hill is great. Really wonderful. Good opportunities for a wide range of interests.
Absolutely.
So, thank you for keeping that all going. It must be a really challenging thing to do, but you've got a good team like Ms. Fabos here and a lot of other great instructors.
Yeah, we have
we're
wonderful people.
Fortunate. And I might just, if it's okay, while we're talking about both of these programs, add a plug. So our dental hygiene department is seeking students to come in for teeth cleanings, x-rays. It's a great opportunity if you don't have dental insurance, because they're really low cost, like $30 for full cleaning and exam. And x-rays are also very inexpensive. So it's at our Aptos campus. People can drop in or call and make an appointment. And then also, when you mentioned our horticulture department, you reminded me that they're bringing back the plant sale.
Yay!
Yeah, exactly, right?
I love that.
It's a month earlier. It's going to be in April, not May. But that community event that everybody used to love, where we get all of our veggies for our gardens, is coming back. So
and not only those veggie things, some very interesting rare types of plants.
Absolutely.
It's really great. Excellent. Well, thank you. That's good news. let's focus in a little bit on some other issues that have happened at the college and what we might, as the public, see happening in the future. And I'm going to bring up a bit of a sore spot, but it's the college naming. Is that going to happen, or is it just going to rest for a while?
It's going to rest for a while. I'll say that. It's so funny. People have asked me about it. I think the minute I showed up, people were like, so what's going to happen with the name? And I'm like, hold on a second. Let me
take a breath.
Take a breath. I mean, as you know, it's ultimately a decision that the board makes one way or the other. And so that is potentially a couple of years out from. So we're at a rest moment right now. I think we're at a rest in terms of that type of decision. I think where we're not resting is really working on the formation of, there's been the formation of a number of different, what am I trying to say? Like committees, I guess, like the Cabrillo College Native American Studies and Student Support Committee that then focuses on promoting Native American studies throughout the curriculum in support of faculty positions, student support and engagement, strengthening relationships with Native communities, and then providing educational opportunities for the college and community. I'll share one thing that is important to me that I've asked some questions about and want to understand. So coming from Humboldt, some of you may or may not know, Cal Poly Humboldt service area served 13 distinct federally recognized tribal nations and many others, right? And so what I'm used to is working very directly with tribal governments and talking with them and understanding what their priorities are, how they want to engage with the college or university and that sort of thing. And so that's a priority of mine, is to reach out directly.
Thank you.
Government to government, right? And to understand, build relationship and understand what they want. Because sometimes, obviously, sometimes we might have a sense or think we know, but we don't know. And obviously there's a lot of diversity within and between tribal nations. So that's my priority, and so already doing some work to set up those meetings.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. How are you going about doing that? Just making contact and setting up meetings for the future? And
yeah, exactly. And so through contacts that I have, and please, if I welcome any introductions or contacts, but I do have some colleagues that have kindly offered to make some introductions for me.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. We have in our area here Anne Marie Sayers in Indian Canyon.
Yeah.
And her daughter Canyon.
Oh, nice.
Sayers.
Okay.
So if you haven't heard of them or connected with them, I would love to help make that connection.
Please
because
do.
they are truly wonderful women.
Please do. I've
Native
heard
American.
of the names, but I don't have a pathway to an introduction quite yet. So I would totally take you up on that.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that. Yeah.
That'd be great.
And I think that your good attention to this really speaks to what I think people wanted with the name change. More of a connection, more of recognition and respect, and it will come in the ways that you facilitate, and I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah,
So,
I appreciate that.
thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The other thing, my husband said, make sure you ask them when the bridge is going to get.
Oh, yes. Well, you and
Pedestrian
everybody
bridge.
else. And I love that I have answers to your questions. So I was surprised to hear that it was all the way back in January 8th of 2024 that damage happened. And here we are almost in March of 2026. But I have really specific information. And so January 27th of 2026, a contract was awarded to Suffolk Construction Company to complete the pedestrian bridge renovation project. It's going to take about $6 million to make that happen. But as of February, the design and permitting phase, so as of this month, the design and permitting phase of the project has begun. And that's that very first phase of the project. And so it's going to take some time. So the active sort of construction part of the project is set to start this summer with completion in January of 2027.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good news. I
Yes.
remember I asked that question of your predecessor,
Okay.
Dr. Wettstein, and he said it's just this weird thing of who owns the air
Oh.
over the.
Yeah.
But I remember him saying that it was actually going to be quite a nice improvement, the new bridge for the ADA.
That's correct.
Yes.
Students. So that is really good.
Yeah.
So we can thank that operator that crashed into
Oh
the
my
bridge.
gosh.
Are they going to pay for it? Where's the $6 million coming from?
Yes, that's the goal. That is the goal. We are going to move forward with construction and have our own insurance take care of it. But that's part of what I think was taking so long, is negotiating some of those pieces. But the ultimate goal is that they're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so
well,
that
hey.
work is ongoing. Yeah. But I'm with
That's-
you. Having the accessibility piece is going to be a huge upgrade for our campus and
Yeah.
our goals of improving accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, that's good news. My husband is going to be very happy.
I'm glad.
I'm sure many people we've
Right?
been wondering.
I feel like we
what
need the
is
big
happening?
scissors and do a big cut, an opening, like a ribbon cutting for the new bridge, right?
Indeed,
Have some fun with that.
indeed, absolutely.
definitely.
Well, we've got about 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
It hasn't
Wow.
time flown.
It
yeah.
has.
goodness.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What do you think, how do you see Cabrillo College role in our community? It's a gem, we all know that, but
Yeah.
how do you see it as moving forward in the future,
Yeah.
working in the community?
Well, see, so what I have been saying and what I think is what I ask people and what I want is for everyone to have a connection with Cabrillo College. So what I go around and then I say, what's your connection with Cabrillo? And mostly everybody has one. So whether it is an educational pathway, whether it is contributing to the college to support the next generation of students, whether it's somebody coming back to take a horticulture class or see a performance. But I want, my tagline is, what's your connection to Cabrillo? So to me, Cabrillo is the community is Cabrillo. And I want the lines to be blurred in that piece. But I want to increase accessibility. I want it to be a point of joy and a place where we can respond to what the community needs. But like I said, I think Cabrillo is community is Cabrillo. And so we need to constantly be adjusting and testing and working with folks and being out there and hearing from, and when I'll say air quote, doing air quotes on the radio doesn't work, but we have an incredibly diverse community that Cabrillo serves with all sorts of towns and school boards and rotaries and clubs and communities, and making sure that we're out there hearing from all of the different folks to make sure that we're relevant with what each and every area needs and wants, I think is critically important. So, but obviously we're an educational institution, and the priority is really helping to meet students and potential students where they're at and help to, work alongside them to meet their educational goals. I really believe in an asset-based framework, and I don't want to decide on behalf of somebody else what their educational goals are, but to really offer them the resources and support to achieve them and help them. And that could be, to your point, a vocational program. That could be, hey, I want to take a horticulture class. Hey, I am going to Harvard, and you're going to help me get there. Or I am a sophomore in high school, and I want to take as many units as I can so that I can get ahead.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer, but we want to be the solution, and we want to be the gateway to that success.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And the other piece of Cabrillo College is that it's a great enrichment opportunity for people like me who just, maybe I want to learn German. Something for fun, something to get out of the house and be with other people and be lifelong learners.
Yep.
Right.
And Cabrillo serves that very well
Yes.
Thank
in
you.
many, many ways. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
What do you see as the greatest challenge for Cabrillo coming up in the future?
To get all the stuff done that I want to get done. Honestly, I think it's resources. I think it's a line, that we're, I don't know. I think it's so funny. I was grappling with this question, and I do think it's just continuing to help to educate everyone on why you should invest in higher education, why you should invest in community college, but the sort of reduction in resources to support. It's not about, I mean, I have a list of 100 things I want to get done. The diversity of communities and people having different goals and things they want, that isn't, to me, hard. I think that's the fun of the work, right? Is getting, I love having diverse ideas. I love when people disagree with me. I love when people are like, that's not working. Well, tell me more about that. Like, that to me is the fun in it. And getting everybody kind of on the same team and working towards solutions. But what I think is hardest is that there's this sort of assault on the value of education. And then associated with that is reduction in funding. Particularly when you are at a community college, but for four-year colleges too, more and more it seems like it's just so expensive to pursue higher education, and education is a good thing. It's transformational for communities, not just the person that's pursuing the degree, but to have a good citizen, a good neighbor, right? All of those things is so important, and so that's the thing that I think is the biggest challenge, is trying to educate people on why they should invest.
Are the current state and federal budgets affecting Cabrillo at all? Are you seeing any cuts? The county supervisors it's a pretty dismal picture there at 701 Ocean Street. But what's it looking like for Cabrillo? Are you affected by this?
I think, boy, that is a complicated question. I mean, what I appreciate is that there are, ongoing commitments to community college in general, which is a little bit different, I think, than the volatility I think there's more volatility that exists for the 4 years than for community colleges. So there's a little more stability there. But yes, I think there still is quite a bit of sort of risk, and we don't have, I think, enough resources to support the ongoing and diverse needs of our students. I guess I would say that, and then also just I just would say just trying to write with the pieces of some declines in enrollments and the number of students we have versus sort of some of the resources that we have, and trying to sort of right that ship a little bit is complicated. So there's not like a simple answer to that, but yeah, I think one of our goals is really to diversify some of our revenue streams so that, as most, I think college and universities are trying to figure out how we can use more grants or more donor support, more workforce partnerships to really support some of the things that we want to do, as well as that state, funding. So we're not reliant on that. But when you look at how much tuition costs and how much housing costs and those pieces, I think also for us, the funding formula for community colleges disadvantages colleges like Cabrillo because of the high cost of living. And so it doesn't level set for students in really high cost of living areas.
Yeah.
So that makes it difficult. It looks fair, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been probably the biggest thing.
And that beautiful dormitory is going to help a lot.
It is. It's going to help a
lot.
ton. I think it's going to fill up fast.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And is it going to will there be a preference for local residents, local students versus out of county, out of state?
Yes, so there will be, and then there's also preference for low-income students,
Nice.
students who are veterans,
Yay.
coming out of maybe our foster youth programs, so those students get priority. And then, of course, there are other things like they have to be full-time students, they have to maintain a C grade point average, so other requirements as well.
That's great. This is going to be very exciting to come online.
It is. It really is.
I wish it were not next to the freeway, because those poor students have to be next to the freeway, but it's going to be a good place.
And on those top floors, ocean view.
Right.
So some great housing
Pretty
option
nice.
there. Yeah.
Well, if people want to donate, you mentioned the foundation earlier. If people want to donate to the goodness of Cabrillo and its students, how do we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can go to our website. Just go to www.cabrillo.edu, and there's a bar for foundation or donate now, and you can click right there.
All right.
please don't hesitate. You can contact me directly, please. I will.
How do we do that?
I will. Jenn Capps, JECAPPS at cabrillo.edu.
Okay.
My assistant will probably kill me for giving that out, but what I always say is I'll meet with anyone, so
Thank you.
at least once, and really kind of hear what somebody's perspective is, what is important to them, and I make that offer to anyone. But,
Thank you. And you're at the Board of Trustee meetings. Those happen when?
yeah, they happen Mondays. Our next meeting is this forthcoming Monday.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's
Usually
an
the first Monday of the
opportunity.
month.
You bet.
And it's on campus. Does it move around where?
It's for right now. It's primarily at the Aptos campus, so that will be on Monday. But occasionally there is a meeting at Watsonville. I'm not sure when the next one is scheduled, but we're in active conversation about having more meetings there as well.
That would be good.
I agree.
I've been to some there, and
Have you?
it was great. It was
Great.
very full.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're at
and
the
I've also-
Horticulture Center now.
At the horticulture. Okay,
Top of
because
campus.
thank you, because I've been to them at the Cesnon House.
Right.
A lovely,
Oh, got it. Okay.
lovely place too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Nice.
okay, well,
Thank you.
that's all good. Is there anything else? We've got about 4 minutes that you want to leave with our listeners today. And again, thank you both for being
Yeah,
here.
you bet. I guess what I would say, I don't know. What I would say is that what's really important to me to convey out to folks is that Cabrillo is really a place that I'd like to make sure that we're defining our college by who we include and not who we exclude. And I really believe that excellence and access go hand in hand. I don't actually think that creating big barriers and really exclusive barriers to letting people into a college or university experience is excellence. I actually think let's break down the barriers, invite people in, and really try to support their success and their path. I think with that, that's where the excellence comes. And so I think, if you join us at Cabrillo, I think you can be a part of that excellence.
Excellent. Thank you.
You bet.
We are very lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Governing
are.
Cabrillo College. Ms. Fabos, do you want to say anything for our listeners today?
Thank you, Becky. This has really been delightful. I've appreciated the opportunity, and I would just invite the community to come to Cabrillo and check us out. Whether it's a class, we've got late starting registration, which are 6, 8, and 10-week courses that are short-term courses, but you can get full-term credit for them. We've got our extension courses. And then springtime brings an array of performances in our Visual Applied and Performing Arts division. So if you want to hear choral performances or bands or see a dance performance, those are all happening in spring. I mentioned the plant sale in April. And then stay tuned because in mid-May we're going to be working with Second Harvest Food Bank and some of our area Rotary clubs on a food insecurity symposium that's going to be hosted at the Samper Recital Hall.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
All
you.
very good things. So once again, tell us how people can find you, how they can find what's happening at Cabrillo in our last minute.
Absolutely. Well, www.cabrillo.edu, come to our webpage, and that's a good place to start. You're welcome to email me at jecapps@cabrillo.edu, or just come on down to campus and check us out. We'd be glad to help you.
Thank you. I really thank you for taking the time to come here today and for all the good work that you're doing to help the students and translating out to the community in the Mid-County and the whole county. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. We really
Yes,
appreciate
thanks
it.
very much,
Yes,
Becky.
we'll have you back again once you get settled in a little more. And
Love that.
And I'm interested in the connection with the Native Americans. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll forge forward with all of that. And thank you again.
Thank you.
All right.
you.
We are off the air, and thank you so much.
Thank you. It was
Well,
fun.
Thank you. It was fun.
Time.
Time goes so fast.
Doesn't it? I
Yeah.
know.
It's like, wow, 10 minutes? I feel like we just got started. And I just realized that I forgot to mention Pino Alto, our restaurant and culinary arts.
For next time.
Yes.
Mention that.
Their
Thank
food
you.
is so good.
Their food is
It's
amazing.
really good.
I have never eaten there.
Oh, you have to try.
They
I've heard
just
great
opened
things
again
about it.
for
Yeah,
spring
It really is
semester.
good.
That's great. My son, I know that a few years ago they did a special for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Oh.
And usually John Hibble plays the bagpipes.
Oh, right.
Hooded.
Uh-huh.
So he invited my son, who's also a piper, to
He
no
plays
kidding.
bagpipes.
So
Cool.
he went
Oh, that's fun.
My husband went there, and they had a great time. And said the food was very good.
Yeah.
Oh,
It is.
fantastic.
It
It is
really, truly
delicious.
is very good.
Well, I will mention that going into the
Thank
beginning of the
you.
next hour.
We
Yeah.
appreciate
And,
that because they
thank you
just opened for
this
spring.
information. I
You're very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you for the water and the
Yeah.
chocolate and the
My
hospitality.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so
So
much.
fun.
Absolutely, and look forward to coming back again sometime.
Yeah.
All right, great.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Becky.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
And
good
welcome
weekend.
aboard,
Great
and I'll
to see
send
you.
that connection with Canyon and Anne Marie Sayers.
Oh, I really would appreciate
I
that.
will do that. They're
Yeah.
wonderful people.
Great.
Anne
Thank
Marie,
you.
I understand, is a little bit frail right now, but Canyon is
Okay.
a firebrand.
She's a powerhouse.
All right.
Absolutely.
That sounds wonderful.
I'll get the door for you.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All right. For those of you who may be listening to today's program on the recorded version, I want to thank you for doing that, and just review that we just had a great interview with Dr. Jenn Capps, the new president of Cabrillo College, and she was joined by Ms. Kristin Fabos, the director of Business, Marketing, and Public Relations, talking with us about what's going on at Cabrillo College. Dr. Capps is brand new, only been on the job a month, and as the new president of Cabrillo College, but has some great ideas, great energy, and I think we're really lucky to have her. She'll be very, very responsive and connected with the community. And that's a great thing. So you're listening to a recorded version of Community Matters, and I want to thank you for doing that. The interview, you may have heard in the background, Dr. Capps wanted me to mention the Pino Alto restaurant and the Porter Cezanne House, run by the culinary arts students, is now open again, and the food, I hear, is wonderful, and it is a great training for these professional to be up-and-coming culinary arts professionals to learn how to cook, how to serve, public service, and also the business aspect and timing things. So it's a wonderful place. So Pino Alto. You can look it up and find out what's happening there, their hours. We have about 30 seconds here, so I will just thank you again for listening to Community Matters. If you're going to be out and about tomorrow, I hope that you will go to Pinto Lake City Park in Watsonville. That's on Green Valley Road. And I'll be talking about that regarding a quick update of the battery energy storage system. Welcome back to Community Matters, live streaming here from our Santa Cruz Voice studio. And I want to thank you for staying here with me. This second hour should be very interesting. And I want to, for those listening live, I wanted to just mention that the Cabrillo College Culinary Arts Cafe, it's called Pino Alta, in the Porter Cezanne House over at Cabrillo College, is open for business. And I don't know the hours exactly, but you can look it up. And Dr. Capps and Ms. Fabos asked me to please relay that it is open and a great experience. The culinary arts students run it with supervision, and so it's their opportunity to learn firsthand what it's like to prepare meals, serve them, and also the business aspect of it. So Pino Alta Cafe in the Porter Cezanne House at Cabrillo College. You're listening to Community Matters. My name is Becky Steinbrunner. The second hour here this afternoon is going to be spent talking with Mr. Lee Butler, who is the planning director for the City of Santa Cruz. Many of us have noticed, if you've gone downtown Santa Cruz, you've noticed things are really looking differently there. A lot of high-rises and a much different look than what we're used to seeing in downtown Santa Cruz. And what do you think about that? And how is that coming to be? What are you interested in learning more about downtown Santa Cruz planning, and what is planned for there more? And there is more. While we're waiting for Mr. Butler to call in, I will just ask that you consider attending an event tomorrow. That's Saturday, February 28th. This is regarding the battery energy storage system. I have been talking about that pretty much every program since the Moss Landing battery fire that happened in January of 2025, because this is a huge issue in our community, and I want to keep information fresh and your information alive. So this Saturday, tomorrow at noon, actually beginning 12:30, the group Stop Lithium BESS, and BESS stands for Battery Energy Storage System, Stop Lithium BESS in Santa Cruz County. That group is putting on an informational gathering at Pinto Lake City Park on Green Valley Road. There are two Pinto Lake parks. The one you want to go to is the first one you will come to on Green Valley Road. It is the City Park, and their gathering will be there under the big gazebo as you drive into the park. It's on your right as you come into the park on Green Valley Road. If you're coming from Watsonville proper, the park is on your left. Pinto Lake City Park. And that will go until about 3 p.m. There'll be a number of speakers there with information about what is happening in Watsonville with the planned 90 Minto Road battery energy storage project, and what you can do to get involved if you're concerned about all of that, and the county's new rules that are coming along in draft form, when those might be approved, when we might have an opportunity to talk about them with those who are going to approve them, the County Board of Supervisors. So that's tomorrow, February 28th, at Pinto Lake City Park on Green Valley Road in Watsonville. All right. Well, I think I have my next guest here on the line. Let's see if we can bring him up. All right. Hello, Mr. Butler. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, Becky.
Excellent. Thank you. It's good to hear you. Thank you very much for joining me here, taking time to be on the program. I appreciate your time very much.
Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure, indeed. Why don't you talk with us a little bit? First, introduce yourself and what it is that you do for the City of Santa Cruz.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I am the Community Development Director for the City of Santa Cruz. I've been in this role for about 8.5 years, and I have about a little over 25 years of experience working in planning and community and economic development roles for various cities. I worked for the City of San Jose and the City of Gilroy and the City of Santa Clara prior to coming to Santa Cruz here, but I lived here for much of that time. I've lived in the Santa Cruz area for about 24 years, and I have a wife and 2 daughters, and we live right here in the City of Santa Cruz.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that you have got a job where you live. That's always nice, and not have to commute. That's quite a commute for all those years.
It is quite nice. Yes, I commuted over the hill for about 15 years, and it's pretty great to be able to jump on my bike and get to work rather than, biking to the bus or driving to the bus or driving over the hill. I've done all of those for quite a long time.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you have this good job. Tell us, what is your job? What do you do?
Well, we do a lot of things here in our department, our community development department, as well as our executive team that helps lead the city. So my department has a number of divisions. Our advanced planning division really helps guide the direction of new development and allowable uses in the city by presenting new and improved regulations to our city council. And then our current planning division makes sure that new uses and new development are consistent with the city and state regulations. And then we have an affordable housing division that works on affordable housing projects, obviously, but also on affordable housing agreements and a range of other things like community development block grants. Our building and safety division looks at plumbing, electrical, structural, mechanical, green building, all of those fun things to make sure that the buildings that we occupy are safe. We have a code compliance division that is mostly reactive, so they respond to complaints from the community about building or housing violations. But we do have some proactive components to that. So we have a rental inspection service to make sure that our rental housing stock is safe and healthy. And then our administration division works on budgeting and support for our different commissions like Zoning Administrator and Historic Preservation Commission and Planning Commission. And across all of those, we listen to the community, we reach out to the community and integrate those community ideas into our work. And then, of course, we're collaborating across the city on a regular basis. Our work is not done in isolation. We work closely with Public Works and Fire and Water and Police and various others. And we do that as well as part of the executive team to push the city's goals further. So things like the Climate Action Plan that cross over many departments, and transportation issues cross between various departments. And so we're regularly working as a leadership team to further those initiatives, as well as we're working regularly with the city council to understand their goals and see how we can promote the initiatives that they want to see happen. So lots going on, and lots going on in the community, lots going on here at City Hall. Never a dull moment.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot to keep track of and to plan for in advance in an environment that is changing, very fluid, in terms of state legislation and needs of the people, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's been one of the things that has been quite different in recent years, really over the past 7 or 8, maybe 9 years, but really in the last 7 to 8 years, the state has come in and made a whole host of changes that have shifted how we do our jobs and what our roles are. The city and cities throughout the state used to have a lot more discretion as it relates to development and what they would and would not allow. And, in large part, in response to the fact that we as a state had not been producing enough housing over the past 4+ decades, we are seeing the state step in and put those regulatory changes in place so that they can promote the production of housing. And there are other changes that have taken place as well, but the most significant ones are related to the facilitation of housing production.
Mm-hmm. And that's not so affectionately called RHNA, Regional Housing Number Allocation Assessment, something like that. Do you want to talk about that and what the state is demanding that the City of Santa Cruz do?
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to. So the RHNA, as it's called, is the Regional Housing Needs Assessment. And it's not new, but it's new in terms of many changes that have occurred. Yeah. So every 8 years, we get a new set of RHNA targets. And so I've been through a few of these now in my 25+ years, and they are much, much more complicated now in terms of the policy framework that we need to put in place to put housing in different areas of the city by, for example, affirmatively furthering fair housing and looking at high resource areas and putting multifamily housing into those areas with access to good education and so forth. And so that's one component that has changed substantially. The policy component is much more strict now, but also the numbers. And most people, when they think about the RHNA targets, they're thinking about the number of units that we need to plan for. And to give you a little bit of perspective, we had between the 5th cycle, which ended in circa 2022, and or actually 23, and the 6th cycle, our RHNA target went up by 5 times.
Wow.
And so we had 800 and some change units that we needed to plan for, and we were actually able to produce over 1,900 units in that last time frame. But we have 3,736 units that we needed to plan for in this current cycle. And so we're 2 years in now, and I'll point out that with the last cycle, we were one of the few jurisdictions in the state that was able to meet our RHNA targets at every income level. So when those targets come to us, we not only have to produce that number of units, but we need to plan for very low income units, moderate income units, and market rate units. And we were able to hit the targets in all of those categories. And so that's going to be a much more challenging task in this current cycle. But we're doing really great so far as it relates to affordable housing. And we haven't been producing nearly enough moderate income housing or market rate housing so far in these first 2 years of the cycle. But really incredible job that we've been doing with the very low and low income.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good news because we have a limited amount of land, right? The city especially. So how do we fit this all in? And that brings me to what many people are saying now when they go through downtown Santa Cruz. My goodness, look at all these tall buildings. It's a different looking Santa Cruz. Do you want to talk with us a little bit about that and what some of these projects are and maybe what's coming down the pike?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks. So yes, downtown Santa Cruz is changing, and you hit the nail on the head when you said that yes, we are having to grow up. I mean, we have some incredible resources in the periphery of our city, and there were some very good decisions that were made decades ago to preserve the Pogonip and to not grow into the agricultural lands to our west. And we've got De La Viega Park, and so all of these great natural resources. We are not growing out. As we grow, we are going to have to grow up. And one of the things that's great about that is it helps us grow in a compact nature that is more sustainable. So we have the highest concentration of jobs and entertainment and transit of anywhere in the region right here in our downtown. And so even if people are in vehicles and using that to travel, using that mode of travel, their trips are going to be shorter because they're in close proximity to so many daily needs. And so growing, and that is really the case when you compare the city of Santa Cruz as a whole to our region. That is very much the case. So even if you're in kind of the farther out areas of the city, Prospect Heights or Carbonera or the far upper or lower west side, there's still daily, you can still meet your daily needs in closer proximity than you can in many areas of the county. And so growing in the city of Santa Cruz is a more sustainable approach than satisfying that demand for housing in other areas of the city. And downtown in particular is more sustainable in that regard. And so what we have sought to do is put together a series of changes starting back in 2017 and 2018, and then more recently last year as we expanded into the south of Laurel area, that are looking to promote additional housing development in particular, but also to support our downtown business ecosystem by adding more residents, by bringing in alternative uses like a hotel and like promoting new economic development drivers like a Permanent Warriors multi-purpose arena. And so we have updated our downtown plan, which has the development standards like height allowances and floor area ratios, the amount of square footage that can be built on a site. And that has spurred new development, and we're seeing that in some of the projects that have gone up, many of which I will say are 100% affordable housing projects. So when you think back to that 2019 timeframe, we had changes approved in 2018. We started getting building permits and development applications 2019. We've had about 6 projects built in that time or under construction. 2 of those are market rate and 4 of them are 100% affordable. And so, and 3 of those are actually on city-owned land where our team is partnering with nonprofit developers to build this affordable housing. And so, it's been really successful. Sometimes these plans, you create these plans and they can sit on the shelf for years or decades even. So to see this type of uptake from the development community and interest from the development community is really exciting. And it's really showing that we are an attractive destination for investment, an attractive destination for visitors and for residents. And so it's great that we are able to see this transformation in a place where it's going to be really sustainable and where it's going to help support the businesses that we all love in our downtown.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you say that suddenly there's this big surge in interest by the developers. What do you think has changed to encourage developers to begin projects, going through the permit process and all of that?
That's a great question. I appreciate that because there are two main changes that I would say. One is the updates that we made to the downtown plan, both in 2018 as well as the ones we did last year in 2025. Nothing built yet from the 2025 changes, but we've got 2 development projects in, which is great to see that happening on such a quick time frame. But I think probably the more important change, and this is not just for downtown, but is something that is citywide, is what I had mentioned earlier. When the state took away the ability of cities to deny or reduce the size of housing development projects that meet specified objective standards, that really was a game changer. And I'll tell you why. Because up until 2019, if a development application came in, let's say it came in on Soquel Avenue and it backs up to single family residential, right? And maybe it was 5 stories or 4 stories, let's say. The folks around that site would understandably come out and, express concerns. Rightfully so, about things that they thought would be challenges from the project. That might be traffic or that might be parking. And City Council did their job. They responded to those community members that were in front of them, and they said, okay, well, why don't you add more parking, and you had to reduce the number of units, or why don't you drop a story off because this would be more compatible with the neighborhood to the back if you had 1 story less. And so what that often did is that made it such that project could no longer be built, right? It wasn't financially advantageous for that project to be built. And not only does that keep that one project from being built, but the project next door and the site next door to that and the site next door to that, they're looking at that and they say, hey, I'm not going to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, depending on the project, they could invest $1 million just in entitlements. And if they're going to end up with nothing at the end, a project that they cannot build and that they cannot sell, they're not going to take that risk. And so what happened was, because of that discretion and because of that risk, that high level of risk, the property owners were very hesitant to make changes. And that happened not just here, but throughout the region and throughout the state. And that's why for 40 plus years, we weren't producing enough housing. And the state recognized that and said, hey, this system isn't working. And so we're going to remove that discretion. And we're going to say, cities, you can still put forth objective standards, but when a project meets those objective standards, it needs to be approved. Now, the state has gone farther and they've said, project applicants can deviate from those objective standards when they are, for example, providing a certain level of affordable housing. And that's the state's way of promoting more and deeper levels of affordable housing in development projects. But nevertheless, the game has changed. And while we have seen a ton of entitlements
Can I stop you there?
Yeah,
Some people may not understand what you mean by entitlements. Can you explain that
sure.
just a little bit, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
This is really great. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I don't want to use planner wonk here. Entitlements are the permits that you get at the planning stage. And so before, and that's typically what's called discretionary permits. So that means that a city would have a say in whether or not to allow a project to move forward. And it used to be that, and just about every city has one of these findings where it would say, in order to approve this project, you have to find that the project is compatible with and in keeping with the character of the surrounding area.
Yeah.
And so that really discretionary point, that finding that the councils would have to make, could allow them to say, all right, we're not going to allow this even though it meets all of our regulations. We just don't think that it's consistent with the character of the surrounding area, for example. So that's the primary change that has occurred when they come in for the planning permits, where we're reviewing the applications for consistency with the height and the setbacks and the floor area ratio and the setbacks and the landscaping requirements, all of that. If they meet those standards, we can no longer say no. And it used to be there were ways for city councils or planning commissions or zoning administrator, whatever hearing body it was, they could say no to those.
Thank you. That's a really great explanation of what the process is like and what has changed and how it is affecting what we see. So I want to ask if you can talk a little bit about the downtown plan and the south of Laurel area expansion. I've got a map here in front of me of the downtown plan area building heights, and that's what really is catching people's eyes. And I'm seeing that in areas near the river along Front Street, there could be 85 feet tall buildings. Do you want to talk with us a little bit about the building heights? And I think that's what people are really concerned about is the aesthetics and shadowing. And if you've got these tall buildings on both sides of a street, it gives a much different feeling to those who are walking and traveling on the streets.
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that quite a bit. Yes, a number of the areas in our downtown do allow building heights up to 85 feet now. And even in some of those areas, so for example, along the river in a number of places, we have building heights up to 70 feet. But under some of those rules that we talked about before, where if you're providing a certain amount of affordable housing, you can use what's called a density bonus to get additional height and additional units. We're seeing the developments typically come in around 85 feet in the downtown. So most of the new development that you see down there is 85 feet, and that's a function of a building code threshold, where once you go over 85 feet in height, you have to switch to concrete and steel, or steel, I should say, although there is cross-laminated timber that may be used in the future and can be allowed now, just is pretty rare and new. But nevertheless, that's also expensive. And so the combination of concrete podium and wood frame construction above caps out at 85 feet in height, And so that's why you see developers hitting that threshold and not going above that, even though under the current density bonus allowances, they can and they could have, even with some of the projects that we have. So when you look at like the new River Row project, which I would encourage you to go out and check out, which is right at Cathcart and Front Street. We've got a great new paseo that leads up to the Riverwalk, and the back of that building extended, the Riverwalk extends out to the back of that building. And so it's a really nice place to check out what the future of that whole segment of the river experience will be. And so that gives you an idea. Those buildings, all those buildings down there, give you the idea of the 85 feet in height. And what I would point out with that is that typically, as a pedestrian, you're not experiencing that full height of the building. Usually, it's the first 2 floors, maybe 3, but 1 or 2 floors. If on the same side of the street, you're experiencing the first floor. When you look across the street, you're seeing the first and second floor. You're not walking down the street and looking up. A lot of folks don't realize that the tallest building in Santa Cruz is the Palomar Hotel. That thing's been here for 100 years. And when you stroll down Pacific Avenue, you don't actually recognize that the building is so tall because you're experiencing that first level. And so, yes, there are shade implications. You mentioned that. There are shade implications as you get taller buildings. We do seek to address that to the extent we can through some upper story setbacks that allow for more of a daylight plane. I will say that through those, the density bonus allowances that allow for developers to build more units and more square footage, they can deviate from those standards. And one of the things that they do like to deviate from is those upper floor step backs. They don't always, we encourage them to incorporate them. But it is just an encouragement through that density bonus. They have a lot of flexibility in where and how they put those additional units. And the reason why it's sometimes desirable for them is in part because of structural considerations, right? When you start stepping back the walls at those upper levels, then it adds complexity to the structural components. Mm-hmm. So that's just a few of the things. But I will say that because the pedestrian experiences that first level and that second level, that's where we really put a lot of our energy in terms of building design. So making sure that those first floor ceiling heights are high, and that we have active uses along those frontages so that they're engaging for the pedestrian. Those are all things that we are seeking to do to really improve the downtown experience and enhance the existing downtown experience as we're continuing to grow.
Mm-hmm. And having the stadium there probably will encourage more downtown businesses to be there. Is that the thinking?
Absolutely. The downtown is really an ecosystem. And so we need offices there for that daytime population going out and eating at restaurants. We need residences there to help on the weekends and on the evenings, and getting people into the businesses at those times. And then, of course, when we've got things like a new arena, that's going to bring a massive influx of people. And that already happens, right? On game night, try to go to Pizza My Heart, and you're going to be waiting, out on Pacific Avenue for that line, which is great, right? That's what we want. We want those folks to come downtown and enjoy the many local businesses that we have down there. And the same is true when you talk about other uses like a hotel downtown, right? People will come to that hotel and they're going to have money to where they're staying in that hotel, but they're not going to have a kitchen in that hotel room, right? So they're going to go downtown and they're going to eat in those restaurants, and they're going to support our local businesses, and they're going to put money back into our local economy that then is going to get cycled back through the other businesses in our downtown. So it is really an ecosystem, and you need a wide, diverse range of uses to really support that ecosystem to the best extent that we can. And that's what we're trying to do, promote that diversity and really support getting people into the downtown, because that's really what adds to both the vibrancy, but also adds to the support of the business community there.
I'm old enough to remember Pacific Garden Mall before the Loma Prieta earthquake. It was a much different place. And, I think that's what many people are actually mourning, is the loss of kind of the sleepy beach town feel of Santa Cruz. But, we all understand that times change, more people come, and now we've got the state breathing down our neck, mandating that we do these buildings. So how many more resident living units will be going in the downtown area with the downtown expansion and the south of Laurel area plan?
Well, specifically in the south of Laurel area, we are planning for about 1,600 new housing units.
Wow.
And we anticipate that at least 20% of those, or about 320 units, would be affordable. And we're hopeful that we get even more affordable units. I mentioned earlier that we have the first two projects in, and so we have in those two projects about 245 market rate units and 116 affordable units. And so, I'm hopeful that those can move forward and actually get built. We've got a lot of entitled projects that have their planning permits, but that they haven't proceeded to the building permit stage because they have various headwinds, high interest rates or high material and labor costs. And so, the affordable projects are different in that they're funded entirely differently than market rate projects, and so that's why we've seen a lot of these projects continue to move forward if they are 100% affordable, but we've seen very few market rate projects in recent years due to some of those headwinds. But I'm hopeful and encouraged by what I'm hearing from those two projects that they will both move forward, and that'll be a great start. The first two projects that are really kicking off the transformation in that area south of Laurel.
That's a big area. What is it? 20? How many square miles? I read it was kind of astonishing.
I think it's 29 acres in the south of Laurel area, roughly speaking. I'm going from memory there. I haven't.
Yeah, that's the number I've seen too. Thank you.
Okay,
it's a big area, and so the plan would be basically to demolish everything that's there now and build up new structures. Is that the plan? Is it going to happen all at once or project by project?
Well, it typically so the way development happens is typically project by project. We do have a development community that is looking to consolidate some of those parcels, right? A arena is going to take a lot of different properties to come in and redevelop all at once. But typically, you'll see projects come in little by little. Let's take the east side of Front Street, for example. When we look at the east side of Front Street between SoCal and Laurel, you have the one new project that has some of the units just recently occupied and others getting close to getting a certificate of occupancy. That's at River Row, right across at Cathcart. When you look immediately north of there, there is the music store that that's not a part of a development project. But immediately north of that is a Swinson project that was entitled some number of years ago, but hasn't penciled out for moving forward to construction yet. And that's 275 units or so. Then when you go south of that first River Row project, you've got the Sherman-Williams, right? The Sherman-Williams is still the Sherman-Williams, and there's no development application on that site. But then farther south from there, you've got another city paseo that's planned, and then you've got that hotel project that, again, we entitled, but hasn't been built yet. And so, over the course of sometimes a short number of years, as we've seen with a few of those projects that have either been built or that are entitled, and other times over the course of decades, right? And, let's say, for example, the Sherman-Williams doesn't own that property. I don't know. I'd have to look it up and see if they do. But if they don't, they could have a 20-year lease. And so it might be another 20 years before that site would be ripe for redevelopment. And so it typically happens over the course of time, and it's much more rare. It can happen, on a relatively faster time scale if there are a lot of willing property owners and interested developers. But more often than not, you see it happen over the course of time.
Thank you. It will be interesting to watch. I'd like to talk a little bit about the affordable housing piece of this large area. You said there would be 20% of the 1,600 anticipated new units for a total of about 320. Are those going to be included in the area, the downtown area? I was looking at the downtown plan, and it does provide developers the option to have the affordable housing off-site, and also with a fee option. So can you talk with us a little bit about that? Will the affordable units be downtown or somewhere else?
Yeah, great question. Happy to talk to that. So we included what you're referring to is a downtown density bonus. And that downtown density bonus was intended to be more attractive than the state density bonus. And one of the things that they can do is provide for off-site affordable housing instead of providing that on-site. And there are opportunities to do that housing, not just in the south of Laurel area, but the plan specifies that it can be anywhere in the downtown plan area within, I believe it's a half mile of the south of Laurel area, or within the coastal zone.
Yeah.
Now, there aren't a ton of places within the coastal zone itself that would have enough density to make up for the affordable housing that's required at the intensity anticipated to offset the market rate units, but nevertheless, it's an option. I can tell you what we've seen thus far is those two projects that I referenced. There is a market rate project that's proposed with 245 units at the Ace Hardware site, 201 Front. And then there is a 100% affordable project that's proposed on Pacific Avenue, just around the corner from 555 Pacific, the existing building, where Pacific hits Beach Hill and curves towards the roundabout. There's a property on the right there that is planned for 100 and let's see, that is 116 or so. Yeah, 116 affordable units right there. So in that instance, it is happening right in that same neighborhood, just down the street, a couple blocks away. And that may not always be the case, but it's great to have that happen in that immediate area. And that's one of the things that we were thinking about when we allowed for this policy. We wanted to make sure, or we wanted to encourage the ability of those individuals to have access to the same amenities and resources. So, if you're in close proximity to downtown, you've got, a lot of places that you can go for your job or for your entertainment or for your food in close proximity. And so that was part of what we were thinking about when we were allowing offsite, is maintaining access to those amenities. And if they're in the coastal zone, then they've got access to the waterfront as an amenity as well. So those are just some of the trade-offs that we were thinking about and wanting to make sure that we included.
Thank you for explaining that, because I looked into that a little bit, and it was an issue for the project at 831 Water Street.
You're right, it was.
That you cannot separate the inclusionary units from the market rate. So I was wondering how that was going to work out in the downtown area. There's that AB 491 that mandates, the Fair Housing Act mandates that you can't discriminate against income. And so, and as you said, all people need to have same access to amenities. So you're saying just being downtown is the amenity that they would have access to, versus if the market rate buildings had an indoor pool or something like that, the lower income units did not. Can you explain that a little bit? Are they going to be really fancy things where these market rates are, or tell us just a little bit about what you see coming down the pike there?
Sure. Well, so a couple of things. One, the new market rate developments are going to be very fancy, right? They are incorporating a range of amenities and just like new cars these days, right? You go buy a new car, it's going to be a nice car. And so when we are looking at the affordable housing, they may not have the same level of amenities as you're pointing out. That was something that we struggled with and that we talked through and that we debated. What we ultimately landed on was that our opportunity to provide so much more affordable housing in these areas that are already amenity rich with respect to access to parks, access to the great things that downtown has with respect to access to the beach, it is still an amenity rich area. And so the trade-off of having those units integrated into a market rate project, as opposed to having more of those units, and typically at much deeper levels of affordability, that was worth the trade-off. Now, that's for this small area of the city, right? It's something that we would, reassess if we were going to look at whether or not something like that should be allowed on a broader scale. But looking at just this small portion of the city, south of Laurel area is the only place that that's currently allowed. We felt that trade-off was worthwhile because the need for affordable housing is so great.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. I hope it's going to be legally defensible. That would be my only concern, and that there isn't a true segregation of affordable versus market, and what is available to those different populations. That's my main concern. But I am happy that there is an increase in affordable housing, and hopefully, as you say, for the moderate income, there's that missing middle. I want to we've only got about 5 minutes here. Can I open up the phone lines for maybe one or two quick calls if they want to call in?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If you're listening and would like to call in quickly, we've got a few minutes. The number to call is 831-265-5050. I'm speaking with Mr. Lee Butler, the planner for the City of Santa Cruz. And if you've got any questions about what you're seeing happening in the City of Santa Cruz, this is the guy. Well, thank you very much. How do people get involved in, you've said that the state really has taken away a lot of the discretionary ability from the local jurisdictions. How do people get involved and have any say at all?
Well, I would say the most important thing is get involved early. Cities can still enact policies. We cannot enact any policies that reduce any development capacity beyond what it is currently, actually beyond what it was back in 2017. But nevertheless, we can still influence how projects look and feel. And so as we're doing that work, that policy work, whether it's talking about new development or whether it's talking about renter protections or preservation of housing, that's a great time to get involved. Similarly, if a project is coming along, we might not be able to do anything, may not be able to require anything of that project, but the earlier we convey things, the more likely it is that they'll incorporate those changes. And that's because once something gets to hearing, not only can the council or planning commission not require things, but at that point, a applicant has gotten so much of that project dialed. Stormwater, grading, architecture, it's really a lot of work that goes into those plans. And then there's a domino effect. If you change one thing, then, hey, you need to change the fire exiting requirements over here, and that's going to affect the site design here. So the earlier you convey thoughts to us, the more likely it is that will be able to effectuate change.
Excellent. We have a caller here. Can we take that call?
Absolutely.
All right, let's see if we can bring this person on. Hello, Dave, can you hear me?
Hi, Becky. This is a nice topic. Thanks for, I forgot his name already, but thanks for coming on air.
Mr. Lee Butler.
Does the City of Santa Cruz have any discretion to barge into the RTC's territory, so to speak? And by that, could the city invite Roaring Camp to run a jitney or a actual diesel bus between Capitola and Santa Cruz, since the RTC doesn't seem to be really eager to do that? It seems like Santa Cruz could do it in the city limits and locally, and I'll listen to the answer on the air.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dave. So we have representation on the RTC board, but the RTC is an independent body, and we coordinate with them on a regular basis for a variety of things. But it is a partnership, right? They're an independent entity, though both the City of Santa Cruz as well as other local jurisdictions do have representation on that board, which then provides guidance to the RTC staff.
Yeah, thank you. And I think one of the main transportation modes for the downtown area is considered to be the bus, and so the whole new development at the former bus station is going to provide a lot of housing connected easily to the transportation hub. Mr. Lee Butler, we have about 1 minute left. What would you like to tell the listeners, and how can they learn more about what's going on in the City of Santa Cruz?
Well, thanks again for having me here, Becky. This has been a great conversation, and I just want to convey that we've got a great team here working on behalf of our community, throughout the city and certainly in our department as well. Bringing a lot of experience to secure grants and get affordable housing built, and to support tenants and preserve housing, and to make sure that our housing is safe. And so really appreciate this opportunity. And if you want to learn more, then go to our website. We've got a lot of information under our Community Development Department, and feel free to reach out if you've got questions.
Thank you very much. And people can always go to the City Council meetings as well. Lee Butler, thank you very much for your time and all the work that you're doing. I hope you enjoy your job. It's probably not always the easiest.
It is not the easiest, but I do enjoy it.
Excellent. Thank you. And you're finally working in the place where you live. That's good. All right.
Great.
Thank you very much for your time, and good luck to you.
Thanks so much. Have a nice day, Becky.
You as well. Take good care of yourself. Bye for now.
Thank you.
So that concludes Santa Cruz Voice Community Matters here today. This is the last program on this format, but stay tuned for future podcasts in a manner yet to be determined. Thanks for listening. This is Becky Steinbrunner. Take good care of yourself.
I'm a little sad. I'm a little sad.